Rewild your soil with an ancient secret that outlasts your garden. Healthy soil is not built overnight, and no synthetic fertilizer can give you what nature has perfected over centuries. There is an ancient secret that turns ordinary soil into a living, breathing system capable of feeding plants for decades. It doesn't just boost your garden today, it rewires the very foundation of your soil so it outlasts seasons, weather challenges, and even human mistakes. This isn't hype. It's one of the most powerful gardening strategies ever discovered, and once you bring it into your soil, you'll wonder how your garden ever thrived without it. Why today's gardens are starving at the roots. Modern gardening often revolves around short-term fixes. A bag of fertilizer here, a chemical soil booster there, and suddenly plants surge in growth. But what happens after a few weeks? The boost fades, the soil becomes weaker, and your garden demands even more inputs just to survive. This cycle leaves many gardeners trapped, pouring money and effort into something that should naturally regenerate itself. The truth is, soil is a living organism, not an empty container for plants. When we strip it of life, it collapses. When we feed its biology, it thrives. That's where the ancient secret comes in. A method rediscovered from indigenous traditions and backed by modern science, it doesn't just feed plants. It transforms soil into a long-term engine of fertility. It's not a fertilizer. It's not a compost pile. It's something far deeper. The forgotten secret behind soil that never dies. Centuries ago, communities discovered that fire and organic matter could be combined to create a material so stable it remained in the soil for hundreds of years. Today, we call it biochar. This carbon-rich substance is made by carefully burning wood, crop residues, or plant material in a low-oxygen environment, locking in carbon instead of releasing it as smoke. The result is a lightweight, porous black material that works like a permanent home for microbes, fungi, and essential nutrients. Unlike compost or manure, which eventually break down, biochar remains stable in soil for centuries. It acts as a sponge, holding on to water, nutrients, and microbial life, slowly releasing them to plants. The indigenous farmers of the Amazon basin used this technique to create dark earths that remain fertile even today, long after those civilizations disappeared. That's why it's often called the ancient secret that outlasts soil. How biochar rewilds your soil. What makes biochar so powerful isn't just its stability. It's the way it rewires soil biology. Healthy soil depends on a thriving underground community of bacteria, fungi, and tiny organisms. These microbes break down organic matter, fix nitrogen, and make minerals available to plants. But in poor or depleted soils, microbes don't have a safe habitat to thrive. Biochar changes that instantly. The porous structure of biochar provides endless tiny caves and tunnels where microbes can live, protected from predators and harsh weather. Once inoculated with compost tea, worm castings, or organic fertilizers, biochar becomes a microbial city, bursting with life. These microbes then spread into the soil, rewilding it with the natural fertility it was meant to have. The result is stronger plants, deeper roots, and resilience against drought, pests, and disease. The formula for activating biochar properly, well, it's really important. Raw biochar should never be added directly to your soil because it can temporarily absorb nutrients away from plants. To unlock its full potential, you need to charge it first with living biology and nutrients. Here's a simple but powerful formula to prepare it for your garden. Take 1 kilogram of crushed biochar and mix it with 1 kilogram of fresh compost or worm castings. Add this to 10 litres of non-chlorinated water. Rainwater works best. Stir in 100 millilitres of unsulfured molasses, or, if you prefer, a tablespoon of brown sugar to feed the microbes. Let this mixture sit for 5 to 7 days, stirring once a day, so the biochar becomes fully colonized by beneficial microbes. Once charged, spread this mix into your beds at a rate of 2 kilograms per square metre of soil. Work it gently into the top 10 to 15 centimetres of soil. For potted plants, add a handful to each container when repotting. You'll notice that the soil stays moist longer, resists compaction, and supports faster plant growth. You know, the reason this method outlasts everything else is pretty simple. Most soil boosters are, well, temporary. Compost is gold, absolutely, but it eventually decomposes and needs to be replenished. Fertilizers? They dissolve and wash away with the rain. Even mulch, as great as it is, breaks down over time. Biochar, once it's in your soil, is there for the long run. It locks in fertility and creates a habitat for biology that just keeps regenerating itself. So you're not only feeding this season's plants, you're setting the foundation for fertility that can last for decades. Even if you step away from your garden for a while, biochar stays active, supporting soil microbes and plant roots long after you're gone. That's why, honestly, this method is considered the most sustainable soil strategy you can use. When it comes to nurturing your soil for the long haul, the most sustainable strategy is one that works in harmony with nature. It's about building resilience, promoting biodiversity, and honestly thinking beyond quick fixes. You know, the real magic happens when biochar is combined with other soil-building methods. Add a layer of mulch over biochar-charged soil, and you create a moisture-locking blanket that reduces evaporation. Combining biochar with other natural practices just amplifies the benefits. Plant cover crops alongside biochar, and you supercharge nitrogen fixation while preventing erosion. Mix it with compost tea, and you flood those porous chambers with an army of beneficial microbes. These simple steps, honestly, can transform your soil into a thriving ecosystem. You know, the beauty of this ancient method is that it doesn't compete with other organic practices. It actually amplifies them. Every drop of fertilizer, every bit of compost, every ounce of effort you put in just works harder and lasts longer when biochar is in the soil. Turning your garden into a legacy, well, that's something special. Just think about this for a moment. Many of the fertile dark earth soils that were created centuries ago are still productive today. Farmers are harvesting crops on them without relying on chemical fertilizers. And honestly, that's proof this method is way more than just a quick fix. When you add biochar to your soil, you're creating something that's going to outlive you. You're leaving behind a legacy of fertility that can keep feeding future gardeners, your children, and even your grandchildren who inherit your land. That's what makes rewilding your soil with this ancient secret so powerful. It's not just gardening. It's a way of leaving the earth better than you found it. So, here's a step you can take today. If you want to start small, just make a single batch of charged biochar and try it out in one raised bed or maybe just one section of your garden. Then you can compare the plant growth, soil texture and resilience with the untreated section. The difference? Well, it'll convince you without a doubt. And as you expand, you'll notice your soil needing fewer inputs, holding more moisture, and producing healthier plants, season after season. So, here are my closing thoughts. Your soil doesn't need another chemical boost, you know. What it really needs is life, resilience, and stability. By rewilding your soil with this ancient secret, you're actually unlocking nature's own blueprint for permanent fertility. Honestly, this is the single most powerful step you can take to break free from weak soils and those endless inputs. If you found this guide valuable, don't keep it to yourself. Go ahead and share it with other gardeners who need stronger soil and, well, more abundant harvests. And make sure to subscribe to Growth Hub Central Crops YouTube channel so you never miss out on more powerful gardening secrets that can transform your soil and your harvest for years to come. Growth Hub Central Crops.